Today is March the 11th. Why did Publius take care of Paul? Well, let's continue reading this story. They have abandoned ship. Those who can swim swam to a beach. Those who couldn't use parts of the ship that was breaking up to swim. Acts 28, the first 10 verses. After we had reached safety, we then learned that the island was called Malta. The local people showed us unusual kindness. Since it had begun to rain and was cold, they kindled a fire and welcomed all of us around it. Paul had gathered a bundle of brushwood and was putting it on the fire when a viper, driven out by the heat, fastened itself on his hand. When the local people saw the creature hanging from his hand, they said to one another, "This man must be a murderer. Though he has escaped from the sea, justice has not allowed him to live." He, however, shook off the creature into the fire and suffered no harm. They were expecting him to swell up or drop dead, but after they'd waited a long time and saw that nothing unusual had happened to him, they changed their minds and began to say that he was a god. Now in the vicinity of that place were lands belonging to the leading man of the island, named Publius, who received us and entertained us hospitably for 3 days. It so happened that the father of Publius lay sick in bed with fever and dysentery. Paul visited him and cured him by praying and putting his hands on him. After this happened, the rest of the people on the island who had diseases also came and were cured. They bestowed many honors on us. When we were about to sail, they put on board all the provisions that we needed. So they come on shore. Once I attended a conference on the island of Malta. In the hotel that we stayed in, we looked across the bay, and there was a monument erected to Paul shaking a snake off into a bronze fire that they had created. That was traditionally the point that Paul had landed on the little island of Malta. Well, as they build the fire, the snake comes out. We don't know if it was a venomous snake. They thought it was. They expected him to die. In fact, they referred to the goddess Dike, justice. Actually, you have seen statues of the goddess Dike. Whenever you see a lady blindfolded with scales in her hand, that's the goddess Dike. Justice is blind. They stayed there for 3 months. Now, Publius entertained them for 3 days. He is called the first of the island. We're not sure exactly what title he had, but he is apparently a man, a political leader of some sort. He had a large estate. For 3 days. He entertains 276 guests at his estate. Now, they stayed there for a total of 3 months, we find out in 28:11. Apparently, after those 3 days, other people opened their homes and people began to live with them then. The question is, why did the people of the island take this large crowd and care for them? Because of what we see next. Publius's father had dysentery. He may have been dehydrating and on the way to death. Paul sees him, puts his hands on him, prays for him, and he's cured. Then the people bring others who are ill. Paul prays for them. They too are healed. In the Old Testament, there's another place where Gentiles, the nation, care for Israelites. When Joshua sent spies to the city of Jericho, they were protected by a prostitute named Rahab, a Gentile woman. Let's read that story, Joshua 2, 1-24.
Joshua 2, New Revised Standard Edition. Then Joshua son of Nun sent 2 men secretly from Shittim as spies, saying, Go, view the land, especially Jericho. So they went and entered the house of the prostitute whose name was Rahab, and spent the night there. The king of Jericho was told, Some Israelites have come here tonight to search out the land. Then the king of Jericho sent orders to Rahab, Bring out the men who have come to you, who entered your house, for they have come to search out the whole land. But the woman took the 2 men and hid them. Then she said, True, the men came to me, but I did not know where they came from. And when it was time to close the gate at dark, the men went out. Where the men went, I do not know. Pursue them quickly, for you can overtake them. She had, however, brought them up on the roof and hidden them with the stalks of flax that she had laid out on the roof. So the men pursued them on the way to the Jordan as far as the fronds. As soon as the pursuers had gone out, the gate was shut. Before they went to sleep, she came up to them on the roof and said to them, I know the Lord has given you the land, and that dread has fallen on us, and that all the inhabitants of the land melt in fear before you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea before you and came out of Egypt, and what you did to the 2 kings of the Amorites who were beyond the Jordan, to Sihon and Og, who were utterly destroyed. As soon as we heard it, our hearts melted, and there was no courage left in any of us because of you. The Lord your God is indeed God in heaven above and on earth below. Now then, since I have dealt kindly with you, swear to me by the Lord that you will turn and deal kindly with my family. Give me a sign of good faith that you will spare my father and my mother, my brothers and my sisters, and all who belong to them, and deliver our lives from death. The men said to her, Our life for yours. If you do not tell this business of ours, then we will deal kindly and faithfully with you when the Lord gives us the land. Then she let them down by a rope through the window, for her house was on the outer side of the city wall, and she resided within the wall itself. She said to them, Go toward the hill country, so that the pursuers may not come upon you. Hide yourselves there for 3 days, until the pursuers have returned. Then afterward you may go on your way. The men said to her, We will be released from this oath that you have made us swear to you, if we invade the land and you do not tie a crimson cord in the window through which you let us down, and you do not gather into your house your father and mother, your brothers, and all your family. If any of you go out the doors of your house into the street, they shall be responsible for their own death, and we shall be innocent. But if a hand is laid on any who are with you in the house, we shall bear the responsibility for their death. But if you tell this business of ours, then we shall be released from this oath that you made us swear to you. She said, According to your words, so it be. She sent them away, and they departed. Then she tied a crimson cord in the window. They departed and went to the hill country and stayed there 3 days, until the pursuers returned. The pursuers had searched all along the way and found nothing. Then the 2 men came down again from the hill country. They crossed over to Joshua son of Nun, and told him all that had happened to them. They said to Joshua, Truly the Lord has given all the land into our hands. Moreover, all the inhabitants of the land melt in fear before us.
Rahab protects and cares for the Israelite spies. The people of Malta, and especially Publius, protect and care for Paul and for all of the others with him. Although nothing is mentioned, I suspect that in 3 months, we have a church founded on the island of Malta. What do we do about this today? Again, look around yourself. Who can you care for today? Scripture reading from the New Revised Standard Version by Emily Herrera. If you like what you heard today, subscribe